Pennsylvania Coal Alliance recently met in Clearfield County, the third largest coal-producing county in the state. The purpose was to discuss the future of coal in Pennsylvania, especially in light of the situation with power plants in the state and specifically in the region. State Representative Tommy Sankey was part of this coal forum and joins us to discuss the prospects for coal in Pennsylvania. First of all, Representative, I have to ask you about the President's State of the Union address and, in general, his thoughts on energy with regard to coal.
I feel personally that his plan doesn't really involve much coal. And, you know, Pennsylvania is the fourth largest coal producing state in the nation. Clearfield County, it's obviously a large part of our economy. And coal is responsible for 40% of the power in the nation. So I have a very tough reservation wondering why that is not part of his plan.
We're going to talk about the role of electricity nationally a little bit, but first of all, let's talk about the forum and some of the topics, and obviously Shawville and River Hill power plants. Can you talk about what the situation is with them?
Shawville is scheduled to shut down in April of 2015. And not only from the jobs perspective, that pulls about $80 million out of our local economy and a lot of good family-sustaining jobs. But on the other side of that, we have the questions of the power grid, especially with the polar vortex right now. And we're constantly being reached out to by PUC and telling us to make sure we let our constituents know that if they can reduce any power, they should. So I've come to the point where I'm concerned with, can we really shut these power plants down as a matter of safety?
You and some members of the forum think that we're reaching a really critical point with regard to the grid, and you kind of touched on that. You've also talked to some members across the aisle, Representative Pam Snyder, Senator Salabai, who's from the southwestern part of the state. Let's talk about that critical role of coal and why you think we're reaching a point where we really need to sit up and take notice.
Well, you know, that also includes Representative Brandon Newman from that area, the Southwest. They've closed Hatfield, they've closed Mitchell. Two major power plants, and it's been detrimental to their economy. But on top of that, you know, those representatives have reached out to PJM asking, you know, if you're asking us to use our constituents to use less power, why are we not using these power plants? Because if this comes down to something in the summertime, then maybe you can't run your air conditioner, your food can spoil. But when you start talking about sub-zero temperatures, you're talking about safety, and you're talking about lives of children and seniors, specifically those.
You're talking brownout, serious brownouts, yeah.
Yes. That's ultimately we want to avoid any downtime, but that's in front of us right now, and it's not something. It used to be something talked about. It's something realistic right now, and when it comes, it's going to come in the snap of a finger.
Do you feel that when people throw the light switch, they realize how much of what goes into that coal has?
No, not at all. To the average consumer, to us, we live in coal country. It's always been part of our power. We certainly produce more power than we use in certain areas, but for the most part, I would say people come home and turn the lights on and they believe the furnace will be running when they get there and everything will be fine, but they don't really know how much intricate science and power and energy go into making sure you can turn your lights on.
You mentioned about us producing so much electricity in the state. We export a lot as well, do we not?
Yeah, we're a net exporter. So Pennsylvania is a net exporter. So there's 13 states on our grid, and we are one of the larger producers of that. We produce less than we use.
If you have questions about this or any other legislative topic, we'll show you Representative Sankey's contact information on the screen in a few seconds. I'm Scott Little. Thanks for spending 5 minutes with State Representative Tommy Sankey.